Hey guys, welcome to an informal and casual video where I'm just going to be talking about how I edited the Dark Souls second half video. If I could go back, I would probably record this voiceover as I was doing the screen recording, but I never really intended to publish this. This was more just for my own documentation before I deleted all the files because they take up so much space, so I can't really afford to save anything. But I thought it would be cool to kind of review this and look at it and offer some commentary as I'm looking at it on how I edited this for future reference for me, and just so you guys can see kind of how much effort went into this video. So you'll notice I'm kind of like jig-jagging there. The version of me is on a green screen. You can kind of see in the little thumbnail. That's what it actually looked like. I was sitting in a room where I had pasted up green fabric on the wall, and I was sitting on it as well. I had lights all around me and a hair light kind of hanging over me so that I could try and have my hair cut myself out of the background a little bit and make it look more like I was really there. Right there, you see, that's where I set up an object tracker. It was really tricky to get the tracker to work correctly. There you can see it, like that's where it was set up, and it's tracking those stairs in the background. Generally, I would have to set a tracker somewhere close to where I was going to be sitting, or it wouldn't really look natural in the environment, and sometimes it took a lot of trial and error to kind of figure that out. Another thing I do in this video a lot is I will zoom in on myself through the background. That layer of clouds, by the way, is just added fog in the foreground to make it look more like I'm actually in the scene. But you'll notice, see that blurring of the background? That's to kind of focus in on me and make it look like as I'm zooming in, the background is becoming blurred, or it has a bokeh, as they would say, B-O-K-E-H, bokeh, some people say, but it makes it look more like I'm actually being filmed by a camera. Here we have the logos of the popular internet forums. This also took a while. Pretty much everything in this video took a really long time and was done totally manually. I had a mask on this where like I had duplicated it, and I had the top and the bottom logos to where it would go behind me on the top half, and on the bottom half you could still see it circling around, excuse me. This also took a while, just the manual flip-flopping around and just playing with like how it looked in frame. You can see there's like a lot of stuff in this timeline, a lot of cuts. There I am sitting down there, also tracked. I don't think I showed every single track, but like with one you get it. This was the scene where I'm showing a whole bunch of like different argumentative comments popping up on screen from a whole huge variety of sources. Each one of these was like manually spaced out, and then down here I have all these little tiny popping sound effects. That took a really long time to make sure that they were all lined up correctly. And here, this part's actually cool. This was in the scene, I actually went into a file that I hadn't beat Manus yet, and I beat Manus just to record this footage, but I couldn't get that cool looking thing in the background like that, and so I actually created this scene kind of fakely by using masks. There you can see the actual scene where I'm standing next to those. And I did that so that I could make it look like I was sitting next to Princess Dusk while she was sobbing, and I was like casually talking over her. I thought that would be funny. And again, I'm doing the extra blurring in the background. You can see how, yeah, as I zoom in, the focus blur effect gradually increases. Now this is just a scene I like from, yeah, there you can see the object tracker right there. I am like the green screen cutout version of me is usually married to an object tracker like that. And then the scaling happens automatically in Final Cut Pro. So like as I have the second half there, I'm actually mapped that second half to another object tracker on my face. Going a little too fast for myself. This part took a lot of trial and error. I actually went into YouTube and I edited the HTML to make it look like these comments were real. These were just comments I made up, and I went in there and I added like fake straw man little jokes. I don't think anyone pointed those out, but there's straw man 1, 2, and 3. There's the hey man and straw man 2. There's like a earthquake effect too in the background. It just took a long time. I cannot emphasize how long this 9-minute video took to edit, because every single second of it is just like steeped in editing. I also changed I color grade myself several times throughout this video. Here I look like a white phantom. I wanted to make myself look like one of the summoned phantoms as I was sitting there next to Artorias' grave, casually talking about it. This was like just a scene I liked the look of. I could have done this a bunch of different ways, but I just liked it. This took a long time too, sitting next to the raven or crow. And as I'm zooming in, you can see like that part was done manually. The part like trying to make myself look bigger, because the object tracking can't really handle that. But then I'm tracked right there, so I'm moving around. A lot of times I would use this to make it look more natural, because like I was using the in-game camera. And so as I'm moving the camera, I thought it would look more immersive if when I looked at it, I was like, my being was next to those micro jitters, you know? This part was like, I debated on even keeping this in. There I am sitting on the cliffside. I just thought this might have been a little too ridiculous, and it was also a little janky, but there you can see like when I'm panning in and zooming in, it's zooming in on that and yeah, like that. So the zoom happens separately. Trying to keep up. I probably, again, this wasn't intended to be posted. This was kind of just a simple scene where I cut to some gameplay footage with a little background border and some like a TV filter to make it look like a CRT a little bit. And you can see the blur is really insane there. This scene took forever too. There were a lot of layers going in with this. As you can see, I'm highlighting the 4 areas that I'm talking about and pointing out in the context of the whole game, they're actually pretty small. Yeah, that was the map that I had used, and all those arrows that I'm pointing to, like a lot of these like little thumbnails you're seeing, these waveforms and stuff. When you click on them, you can see they actually have multiple layers of their own. There's just a lot going on. Yeah, many areas could fit into either half. This part I originally had put myself behind the door a little more, and then I come in again with the same idea that I had with the gaming logos. But I bring these boys in from the side. And this one, they come in and then they rotate around. And I thought this was like really cool looking to look at. Another one where I was drawing these lines kind of manually and doing the timing manually. There may be better ways to do a lot of these things, but this is just like, I've been figuring things out as I go, so. I am not like a master editor by any means. This is still the work of a complete and total amateur. But this part too, I had originally started far away, and I thought that it was funnier if I zoomed out that way. With all the dudes running at me. New Londo Ruins. That little tracker right there, because of all the color and the low contrast, that took forever to line up and make look smooth. And I knew I wanted to get some shots of Duke's Archives where you're looking out over the world of Lordran, just because it looks so beautiful to me. This was the Crystal Caves edits. Those were some of my favorite in the whole video. And it was a little jittery at one point, and I actually covered it up just with the editing. This one too looks so legit because it like comes in and it really looks like there's like a dolly zoom going on there. But it's not, it's just footage from the game. It also, like, you know, it took a long time to edit all this. It also took a long time just to walk around the world of Dark Souls and try and pick out which things I wanted to record. And I would get ideas for like where I wanted to place myself. You see the shadows there. Trying to scale myself properly also took a lot of tinkering. Too much, actually. But what are you gonna do? Yeah, and here I'm just showing a lot of the different effects, because there are just so many different effects applied to all of these things. A lot of them kind of edited. I did like to include little bits of gameplay where I felt like it was relevant, just to kind of break up the monotony of me doing the same joke 100 times. But I just really enjoyed the joke. I like how I'm partially covered up here. You can see there's more of an orange color grade on me to match the bonfire behind the edge of that stone door. There I'm just showing some of the different stuff. I'm looking more at the center of the screen. I'm not looking as much. But yeah, that's just showing how I can adjust things and how it's all put together. Thanks for becoming a member, by the way, to anyone listening. Because I think I'm posting this as a members only video. Anyway, yeah, there was Solaire. That was a little bit. Here I am sitting next to the bed of chaos. There I am, right down there. A lot of people missed that one. I'm also right there by the, I moved my mouse over it. Right there, sitting on the UI. This was funny too, sitting next to Andre. A lot of memories playing this game. Anywhere in his vicinity, and that really bright clinking noise would drive my sister insane when I was back living with my parents for a little bit, playing this game. Maybe it was just when I was back for Christmas break, originally playing this game. Yeah, cutting off my legs like that. These parts were a lot of fun to film in the killing of the first flame. I always loved that area. Look like I'm just sitting on the steps. And I've always adored the way that the Black Knights are walking through like this kind of void, this white void or chasm. And I liked the idea of like kind of slowly zooming out, slowly panning out, slowly panning out. I had a thought that maybe it would have been funnier or better to do this in reverse. And then this scene looks so clean to me with that blur and then bringing in the different zones. I really enjoyed the way that looked as I was editing it. The texture on those stairs just looks really nice, especially when it's all blurred out. Oh, and this part probably took the longest, and it was also some of the stuff I was most excited about. And it was so hard whipping out the binoculars to get a lot of these angles. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. But that's where the object tracker was. That's where I was. The harder part was making me fly with the bird. Yeah, this scene that when it moves to the cutscene, getting more of a cinematic scene that I couldn't get normally. I just feel like it looks so good. Like right after this is one of the best looking scenes in the whole thing. And what you see there is just kind of like a zooming effect going on. But yeah, I put like a mask on to make it look like the egg was popping out just a little bit in front of me. My legs are kind of disappearing between part of the nest. And here you can see those are all individual points that I'm moving myself in between. And I do a much more intense version of that as it's picking me up. I do a much more intense version in just a sec. Here I am, and bam! Oh my gosh, this took so long to try and make it look natural. Where it's like, ooh, I'm getting slightly bigger. This was all done manually, frame by frame. It took so long. So long. And then at the very end, it was really hard to get it looking clean. And it's still not perfect, but I was pretty happy with it. As you saw me go across the screen real fast a few scenes ago, it was mainly just because I could not find an object tracker to latch onto after like an hour of trying. These are just scenes that I like from the game. Put myself in the red phantom glow as well. And the chasm of the abyss. Manus is a hard fight, man. I thought that was funny when the crystal guy was charging at me. Cutting to some gameplay again. Sitting next to Ceaseless. And then adding in also the lower ended berg because I forgot to mention that area. The Priscilla scenes were really funny to me. I thought it would be really funny to focus in on the feet and then zoom out because it's so awkward. And then this was a scene without me in it where I cut to a few things as I'm explaining the journey to Anne Orlando and ringing the bells and how satisfying that journey is. And then kind of cutting back to myself. This was such a fun video. Green screen stuff does stress me out a little bit. Oh, this one too. This was fun doing like a mask where I was cutting out the bottom half of those clams and having it zoom in slightly on me and then pan as well. It was just a good look, I thought. Yeah, there you can see the lines where I traced it. Oh, this scene looked pretty good too. I thought it was funny just trying to find places to place me while I was sitting. These were a lot of those were where there were online players were just old screen recordings from my Switch, directly from the Switch. I do own the other version of Dark Souls Remastered that's 60 frames per second, but the Switch version is my favorite because it looks like the game that I used to play. And then I also had referenced some of a previous playthrough I had done on the channel, which was beating Dark Souls in one sitting. When I forgot to pop the humanity but still got the Black Knight halberd, that felt so good. You spend a lot of time in the Undead Burg too, I feel like, so I did like cutting back to that. And here, this was a lot of people's favorite part. I'm sitting in the water and I have a underwater effect. You can see there's 2 layers. And I put on the legs and I decreased the transparency and it just it looked like I was wet. I was a wet boy sitting in the water, and that brought me some joy as I was editing. And also it's like got the twin guardians, which I forgot that even happened as I was going to. I had the idea to do this scene a little later, and so I would keep going back and playing more of the game. That's part of why this video took so long to edit. Yeah, lots of different scenes. I really liked this angle here. I thought that looked really nice in the royal wood. And then like I have a special relationship with that boss fight because it's so hard to get PvP characters going sometimes. And when I was doing Soul Level 1, New Game Plus stuff, the Four Kings is like one of the hardest things, or was one of the hardest things for me. I feel like I'm a champ at that. Oh, and there I was just turning off the fog effects so you could see the difference, and kind of why I added it in, because it added this other layer that kind of blended me in, almost like smearing, pencil for shading. It kind of just blended me into the page. And then I just disappeared. I thought that was funny. And this thanks for watching thing at the very end was also, something. But anyway, it looks like it's coming up on the end of this. Thanks for watching again. And I hope you enjoyed this brief video about how I edited Dark Souls Defensive Second Half. All right. Peace out.